Hey guys, happy Mother's Day. It's Boston Bill. Just gonna wait and see if anyone comes into the chat and then we'll get it going. Hope you guys are all having a good one. How you doing? Sunday. Welcome. Welcome to the chat. It's Mother's Day. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm gonna be sharing with you guys my experience. I went and volunteered for the last 6 days. And I was gonna share my experience about what I've seen and how things are going. Hey, what's going on, brother? I actually just got home this morning. For the last 6 days, I went and volunteered again at the VA detox. So I stayed for 6 days and worked with the alcoholics and the addicts and went through what I went through. It was good. I had some good things go on while I was there. I met some real good guys. They have their issues, but that's what I do, and I went and lent a hand, I'm just going live to see what I can do. And no, not yet, brother. Not yet. I do have Venmo on my page. I'm taking donations for like homeless. What I'm doing is I'm making up hygiene kits, like hygiene bags for the homeless. I'm not monetized yet. I'm trying to get the channel going, but it's tough because I'm going away all the time. I can't be on here it's hard, because I'm trying to do the YouTube thing, but you're out in the streets. I really gotta start taking my phone with me, but I couldn't take it to the VA because of the HIPAA laws. It's a detox. I can't go in there and film because of people's, HIPAA laws. So it was a good experience. This time around, there was a lot of older gentlemen, a few guys that served over in the desert, a couple of Vietnam veterans, and I just did what I had to do. I was roomed with the gentleman that had a busted leg that really couldn't walk too good, so I was working with him. There was a few people there, actually. There was 32 people in all. And yeah, I'm on Prism Live. I'm using Prism because YouTube's been glitching a lot and the audio's been terrible. There's a bug with YouTube going around, so be careful that you don't catch it on your phone. I've been using Prism instead. It seems to be protected for Android phones. I use an Android. I don't have an iPhone, But I want to, wish my best to God is powerful all the time. He's a great guy. Check out his channel. Like, share, and subscribe. I am Boston Bill, and I'm here to share my experience with you guys. I spent the last 6 days at a detox facility with a good amount of veterans and some regular civilians that, have problems. And I try to help any way I can as a support system, or just someone that wants to give to people. What I'm trying to do on this channel is just to educate and help people about a few different things: drug addicts and addiction, and rehabilitation for prisoners that need like schooling or grants when they get out, for felons, people that have felonies on there, if you have a record. I've been looking into cyberbullying and even, spousal abuse. Like, I'm trying just to help people and give back. I was addicted to heroin for 15 years. I was a drug addict myself, and I'm somewhere in the vicinity of like 15 plus years that I've been on between Suboxone and methadone, trying to keep sober and do the right thing. I'm 57 years old. Heartbreak. Well, it depends on your situation. I went through that myself. In 2000. How? Well, I'm going to tell you how. If you give me a second. I found my brother dead of an overdose in 2000. It was my first time ever seeing a dead body, and it blew my mind. My psyche completely shattered the day that happened to me. I've never experienced anything like that. It was 26 years ago, so I was much younger. And to be honest with you, heartbreak is like, I went and seen a grief counselor, but that's for death. I mean, are you talking like a situation where you were married or maybe you got divorced or had a spouse and you guys are no longer together? That's kind of not really what I do. I mean, I can help you in a sense that, the best thing to do, I believe, is talk to someone when you're having any type of troubles, believe it or not, sometimes a stranger or someone that you feel comfortable around is just a good, oh, a girl left you. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. That's what I do is I listen. Like this channel's not just for me to come on and talk to you guys. I want you guys to talk to me. Ask questions or share your story so we can all become like a community, The people in this world, like, to be honest, no one cares about people anymore, and it's very sad. I really want to make people like love each other again. You know what I mean? It's like back in the day, everybody knew each other. Everyone waved to each other. People were friendly. And now it's just a fast paced life. You can't, you go out and drive and everyone's angry, beeping and throwing each other the finger and swearing at each other. The world has changed and it's not good. I'm an old school Gen X guy. I'm an 80s kid. And back in the day, things were cool, you know what I mean? Everybody got along, you have your issues, but now it's just everyone's angry. I don't even ride my motorcycle anymore because I'll be honest with you, I'm scared of someone running into me, plowing into me because of these cell phones are crazy. My brother just got hit. His car got totaled. He got pretty hurt, and the kid that hit him just went right through a stop sign because he was texting. He was looking down at his phone and just blew through the stop sign. He's lucky he's not dead, I'm sorry that you got your girl left you, but that happened to me about 7 years back, and I'll be honest with you, I stayed single because my heart was kind of really broken when that happened. And it was a rough experience for me. And I don't want to go through it again. I know exactly how you're feeling. My feelings were crushed. My heart was torn. I went and ended up living alone. I've been good, Simba. What up? How you doing? I don't know if you knew, but I was away. I went away Tuesday morning again. I did a 6-day volunteer with the detox again. Things went good. I met a lot of good guys there. A lot of guys had some trouble. Yeah, it is a shitty feeling, but it's funny. I even got taken out in an ambulance Wednesday night. I'll show you in a minute. I was in a chair and I fell asleep. And you remember me saying I was going away. Well, I ended up smashing my head. As you can see, the big scar. It's still a cut there. I fell out of a chair and I smashed my head off the wall. And you can see what happened. I ripped all my hair out and everything. You can see it looks like I got a bullet mark there. And what had happened was I bashed my head off a wall. And the nurses there said it's protocol. So I've never been in an ambulance. So they loaded me in the gurney and they took me in an ambulance. And I went like 5 miles down the street to the emergency room and they checked me out. They sent me back in an Uber. It was kind of crazy. I'm good. I'm feeling good, but now I got a bald spot. It looks like my brother said it looks like a bullet went over my head. I'm lucky I didn't split my head open. But, my eyes were really awakened from what I seen this time, A lot of these guys were going through some crazy stuff, man, between, drugs, alcohol, just in general. Depression. I seen a guy come in with both his wrists bandaged up with gauze and medical tape. I didn't want to ask him, but I believe he tried to self-delete, and they send me back in an Uber. They were going to use an ambulance, and they said, we'll just send you in an Uber. They paid for it. I didn't pay for it. The hospital paid for the Uber, and they're also going to pay, Yeah, I did the Irish two-step all right. Yeah, I I got my foot caught on a metal leg on a chair, and I was sitting down in the chair, and it was like 11:30 at night, and I had fallen asleep, and I went forward, and there was a wall across from me, and I smashed my head off the wall. It knocked me for a loop, let me tell you. Yeah, yeah. They ain't gonna tax me anything because, like I said, I wasn't coming off the streets. I was in the detox when this happened. I was in the facility. So that's why they sent me in an ambulance, because when you hurt your head in a hospital or a detox, it's mandatory. Yeah, their insurance will cover it, because like I said, I was in their facility and I got hurt. And then, they sent me out in an ambulance, and then the hospital sent me back in an Uber. I don't know if the hospital paid for the Uber. I don't know if the detox facility paid for the Uber. But, it was quite an experience. And one of the guys that I was there with ended up going there too, because his shakes were so bad. He was in such bad withdrawal from alcohol that they sent him out in an ambulance. Actually, I seen a few guys go out this time around. It was kind of an awakening this time, because usually when I go, I see a lot of yeah, I know. Some way, somehow we end up paying for it. I get that. But this time around, there was a lot of alcoholics there, and it really hit home for me. A lot of these guys, medication, there's protocols for DTs, usually Librium, Clonidine, Bentyl, and there's something new they're using called Sarex. It's a benzo, and it keeps you from seizing. It keeps you from getting seizures. It was just strange, because I ran into a lot of military guys, and all drinkers, all alcoholics. And they were telling me stories about being over in the desert and Afghanistan and Iraq. And, it really like tugged on they don't really use Valium no more for that. It's Librium, Clonidine, Sarex, which is a benzo. It's like Xanax in the place I was at anyways, But really, it woke me up a lot to like what the VA and the veterans are going through. It's a shame that, like, I don't like do politics on this channel, but like what's going on is like they're giving all the illegals everything they need. They're giving like $3,500 as soon as you come into the country, an ID, a hotel that you can stay in. They're allowed to go to the food pantries in the town that they're staying in, these hotels. There's a hotel up the street from my house, and I'm going to go up there and film it. They actually took a big tarp and they covered the sign at the hotel. You can't even rent a room there because it's full of immigrants, illegals, completely full. The Courtyard Marriott in Stoughton, Massachusetts, and I'll put them right out there. They will not rent you a room. The whole sign's covered, and it is what it is. I'm not into politics. I'm not a politician, but why should a veteran that fought for this country be on the street begging and panhandling to eat and be wrecked on alcohol when you got people that don't even belong in this country giving them money and housing them? Our veterans should be taken care of, It's really sad, man. I've never seen such screwed up people in all the times I've been there. This was number 6. This was the 6th time for me in 9 months I went and done this. And it really woke me up to a lot of shit that's going on right now. I'm actually bummed out about some of the guys. I took a lot of phone numbers down, and I hope they're out there tonight watching this live. And I just want to tell them I love them all. It was tough, These guys went through a lot of shit, and woke me up to a lot of things that I never knew, I heard guys screaming in their sleep, dreams, waking up, not knowing where they're at. It was really strange. One poor guy was shaking so bad, I couldn't even help him. He was trying to drink his coffee, and his hand was going. This guy was drinking sleeves of vodka like there was chocolate milk. I guess they call them a sleeve. What do they come in? 10 nips in a sleeve. The guy drove there. He said he was completely shit-faced when he drove there. And he had left, he was so drunk, he took the wrong bag of stuff into the detox. So I had to talk to one of the orderlies there to get his clothes. He was going to leave over his clothes. So they went out and they got his clothes and they threw all the alcohol away. I mean, this poor guy had a broken leg. He drove a hell of a long way to get there. Exactly. God first and America second. No money outside. Exactly, Simba. You know, like I said, I don't do politics in this channel, but the things that I learned when I was there it's disgusting. It's disgusting, to be honest with you. We have guys that are in their 70s and, you know, even early 80s that were all over in Vietnam. Then we got younger guys that were over in Iraq and Afghanistan. I got a buddy that's kid is getting deployed as we speak over there right now with all the shit that's going on. The guy's heartbroken. It's his kid. He's 26 years old. And now he's in the Army and he's on his way over there. He might not come back. You never know, you know. And I've never seen so screwed up people. Like, I mean, I've seen drug addicts. I've dealt with all that. You guys know that because that's what I do on here. These guys were shell-shocked. And they're really mad, you know. They're really mad about, like, not having housing. And I get it, you know. People say, oh, they can go out and work. They really shouldn't have to. They went and fought for this country. And a lot of them are really screwed up. I met a sniper in there, a guy that was a sniper. And we happened to watch the movie American Sniper on Friday night. You got to run. All right, Simba, be good, brother. I'll see you again. You know, I'm back. I'm not going to be going back for a while. I told them I really got to get this YouTube channel up and going. God bless you, bro. I'll see you again. Thanks, man. So I was saying, you know, it's just not fair to all of us, you know. Hey, hi from the UK, Kellyanne Williams. How you doing? Like, share, subscribe. I'm Bill. They call me Boston Bill. I do a little bit of everything on the channel, and tonight I'm talking about my experience of I went and stayed at a detox facility with mostly veterans and some civilians. And, you know, that's what I do. I'm a former drug addict, and I'm just trying to help people that have shitty situations going on. I call it the dark side, you know. I do like addiction rehabilitation, prison rehabilitation, you know, domestic abuse, mental health issues, because people in this country and around the world need help, you know. And like, I'm no guru and I'm not a rich guy that got money to help. I need help myself. You know, I'm bipolar. I have HDAD, PTSD. You know, I have a lot of shit on my shoulders. But I feel that it's, you know, it's therapy for me to come on and talk to you guys. And I like that you guys come on and talk to me, you know. But I really got, like, educated on what's happening with our veterans. And it's really sad. You know, a lot of these guys are living in like halfway houses or sober houses. A lot of them are on the street and in shelters. But we're letting illegals come into this country, and then we're handing them $3,500, food stamp cards, you know, temporary green cards, and it's not fair. You know, I'm just saying, like, I can't see looking at a guy that's 70 years old, that's having flashbacks from like Vietnam. He's still all screwed up, drinking every day, and he's living in the woods in a tent. And then you got a guy across the street living in a, you know, halfway decent hotel room with a food stamp card and all sorts of money that doesn't even belong in this country. I really don't do politics on this channel. Hey, Laura, how you doing? I'm home, sweetie. I got home this morning. Again, I know I told you I did my 6-day tour at the VA hospital, and it was a great experience. I never seen this. It was tough this time because I met a lot of good guys that served our country, and it made me sad. That's like, I'm filling up right now because these guys need help. And it breaks my heart that, you know, they served our country and no one gives a shit about them. It's one of the saddest things I've seen. Excuse me. I met a guy named Lucas, and when he came into the facility, I noticed that he had gauze and medical tape on both of his wrists. And I was talking to him, and he tried to self-delete. This guy didn't want to be here no more. And, he's living out in the street, and he was a Vietnam veteran, and he just didn't have anybody. And it was just a real sad situation talking to a lot of these guys that, do a lot for us in general. We're free because of these guys, and it bothered me like that, to think like we're walking around every day and, we got a good life here in this country, and no one cares about these people. I've never heard such crazy stories in my life about the disrespect and just, it was just crazy. It was pretty wild, to tell you the truth. I never knew what a lot of these guys, I'm not that old. I'm 57 years old. But these guys were telling me, like, when they came back from, overseas, people weren't happy with them. They were getting spit on and, being called baby killers and what have you. I had 5 uncles that were in Vietnam in every branch of the military, and I heard some stories and I understand, but I don't understand how any human being can treat another human being like a piece of garbage. I just don't get it. People need to start to care about each other again. This country's really getting ass backwards. It's really wild out there. Drugs are rampant in the country, and young kids, all these young kids are getting strung out. And it really, it gets to me. I don't, I'm never going to make a change because no one cares. That's the whole honest to God's truth. No one cares enough to step up and help, I'm one guy and I'm just trying to do something it helps me. It's like a little bit of therapy for me. And also maybe I can educate some people, and that's what I'm trying to do. It's the only thing I can do. I don't know what else really to do. I'm trying to give back to people. I spent a lot of time locked up behind the wall for crimes that I did back in the day, and it was drugs. I was a drug dealer, bottom line. I never had any rape charges or abuse charges or anything like that. All my record says on it is possession and distribution of heroin and cocaine. I was selling drugs, and I, paid the price for it, and, I did my time, so that's fine. I'm not complaining about it because I made my bed and I lied in it, And here it is, 20 years later. I'm just trying to stay on the bright, not use drugs. I never really was into alcohol. I don't even smoke weed. The only thing I take is gabapentin for my feet. I got real bad neuropathy, lymphedema, and I take 3 pills a day every 6 hours or something for pain, and it don't even work. It's just, it helps. I had major surgery 2 years ago on both legs. It did work somewhat, but I still have issues. I was forced to retire at 50 years old, and I'm just trying to give back to my community as like best I can. I'm kind of stuck right now because I would have thought that me doing this would have been something good, and times have changed, I guess. I don't see things are the same as they used to be like back in the day. I've been at this for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. I'm a little happy. I got a little over 300 subscriptions. That's great. Then I see people that are doing things online and it don't make any sense to me. And I get it. It's the times, and that's what's hip, Pokemon and video games. I'm a guy that likes comedy relief, stuff like that. Real deal stuff, that keeps people smiling and happy. Do you watch? I never have. I've never seen a game of cricket. I was told it's really good. I should probably check it out. We don't have a lot of it here because I live in America. You're probably from another, like England or something, right, where they play cricket, or Africa. But I've heard about it. I have seen a little bit of it, but I've never really watched a game. I've never even really watched a good baseball game. I'm not into baseball. I like contact sports. I'm into boxing. I know a few boxers personally that, that it intrigues me. I used to be into the mixed martial arts, but I'm really get into the sport of boxing or hand-to-hand combat. I boxed as a young teenager for a little while, not a long time. I maybe took like a summer course at my high school, your basics, tuck your chin, keep your face covered. I'm no Muhammad Ali or nothing like that. I have no problem throwing hands ever. I'm old though, bro. I'm 57 years old, so I'm not out there trying to kill people or hurt anybody. I want to help people is what I'm about. I really, really want to work with, troubled teenagers, kids that are going in the wrong direction. I just want to make people understand that this world's in big trouble, man, and it's never going to change. But I figure if I can educate just a small amount of kids or people or teenagers, because I don't want anyone to have to go through what I went through. I came from a single family home. My parents got divorced when I was about 8 years old. My old man was a gangster, or you want to call it a mobster. My father had his hands in a lot of things, which I didn't really know about until I got older. I come from a family of 4 boys. All 4 of us at one point were selling drugs. That's what we're known for. We're that family in a small town that everybody knows who we are. Dad's the guy that is the boss, and then these are the goons. You know what I mean? We were known by the people, by the police, by the drug task force agent. I've been on the front page of the newspaper. I've been on the local cable channels, but not for good stuff, for bad stuff. When they have the meetings about losing your liquor license, closing the bar down because of us, I've been incarcerated 4 times, then a 5th at the state prison for a Section 35 by the police in my own town sectioned me to state prison. That's a heavy thing, I ran amok for about 20 years. I live in an average town. Now it's a city, they changed it around to a city. It's pretty wild out here. There's shootings, robberies, hijackings, everything that goes on in every town now, crime's rampant here. The town's not like it used to be. I lost one of my brothers in 2000 to a heroin overdose, and I happened to find the body. And that's another reason I think my head's a little screwed up. I've never seen anything like that, and I experienced it, and that was enough for me, And I just think people don't know what they're in for these days, because, like, we were talking the other night, and we were talking about, like, how, heroin back in the days was the thing, and right now, people are out there pumping out fentanyl in everything you can possibly think of. The marijuana, if you don't buy even weed from a dispensary, is laced with fentanyl. And I experienced it firsthand. A friend of mine's kid plays football in school. They do urine tests for the football players. The kid popped the dirty urine for fentanyl. His father flipped out. Of course I love my brother. I love all my brothers. I know that's kind of a crazy question, but of course I love my family. Don't you love your family? And I went over there, and I have some things, Batman has his utility belt, and I have these. These are called overdose kits. These save lives. And I have some things that I use in my line of trying to help people out. And it's talking about the marijuana, and I use these. These are test strips. These are harm reduction. And what you do with these, they're fentanyl test kits. And they come with a small spoon This is a small spoon, and that is the test strip right there. And what you do with that is, of course we do. And you check any drugs that your kids may have or what have you. But that's what they're for. And they also come with Narcan. That's Narcan. That reduces the opiates when someone's overdosing. That'll save someone's life. What had happened was the kid had bought some weed off the street, and I knew in my head, because I know the kid's not a drug addict, and his dad didn't understand what was going on. The kid failed the urine for fentanyl. He called me, he flipped out. I went over there. I found out the kid bought some weed. I took it, I put it in a spoon, and I hit it with a little water. That's how you use those test kits. And I give it a little stir, and I stuck the strip in there, and the thing turned red instantly. The weed that he bought was laced with fentanyl. And I already knew, because what they're doing over in Colombia, Afghanistan, the Philippines, it's called misting. And what they're doing now is they got it so they can break down fentanyl to a liquid form, almost like, say, water or glass cleaner. You know how you spray a spray bottle and that mist comes out? You know what I mean? Well, that's what they're doing to the pot or the weed. And then it sticks to the weed. You go and buy it. You're smoking grass, but you don't know it. You're doing fentanyl. And now your urine's going to show up for fentanyl. Can you imagine you can smoke a joint, and if you've got enough fentanyl in that grass that you can overdose from smoking a bone? I couldn't imagine that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I said the same thing. Fentanyl in marijuana. These kids have no idea. I used to smoke weed in high school every day of the week. I was the stoner with the long hair. It was the 80s. I was a metalhead, but I did good. I did what I do. And I couldn't think about having a dope habit in high school. And here's a story I'm going to tell you real quick. I got a buddy that's a resource officer in high school, like the counselor you go and talk to when you're having issues. He overheard a kid talking in the hallway, and the kid said to his friend, "I have a math test at 6 period. I got to go get something because I'm sick." And he knew exactly what the kid was talking about. The kid had a dope habit in high school. A junior, is that 11th grade, 10th grade? This kid was dope sick, and he had a math test in like 2 periods to go, and he needed to go cop drugs to get off E, as we say in my world, meaning get off empty, because he was sick. He needed to fuel himself with the drug so he could do his thing and take a math test. That blew my mind. Yeah, it was. It was heroin that killed my brother. It wasn't fentanyl. It was heroin. It was back in 2000. Fentanyl didn't really hit till about like a good 10 years back. It's been around forever. Now, you got to remember, this fentanyl is not new. You look up any of these drugs, like people think all these drugs just came out. We were looking up something the other night, and it came out like no one realizes that, like everyone knows what methadone is, or the methadone clinic, but most people don't know that that was invented by Adolf Hitler. Can you believe it? A lot of people don't understand that. Adolf Hitler is the one that created methadone. The reason why, it wasn't him himself, but Adolf Hitler made scientists back in the day when the Germans were fighting, because these guys were getting all strung out on the morphine. He was making his soldiers fight, fight, fight. And the only way to do that is, if you don't feel no pain, you'll keep going. So he was giving all his soldiers morphine. And then these guys would get sick when they're stuck out in the field and couldn't fight because they're out of dope or morphine. So what he did was he went and had scientists create something. And sure enough, it was methadone that they could deliver to the soldiers, that they could take it while there was no morphine available out on the field. And that's a true story. If you go on Google and go look up who invented methadone, it will say it's connected to Adolf Hitler, which I absolutely could not believe that when I heard it, but it's true, and I Googled it. And I heard the story before, but I went in one ear and out the other. Yes, my brother died in 2000 of a heroin overdose. Standing in line for home picnic with one of my children one time, I saw a drug exchange in front of me between two school coaches. Yeah, it is really crazy, Laura, because kids these days ain't doing what we did back in the day. I know most of you guys are probably my age. I'm 57 years old, and what's going on? Yeah, Dexedine. There's so many things that kids are taking these days, and it all, yes, exactly. Dexedrine is a new drug out there that they're taking called xyloside. It's a horse tranquilizer, believe it or not, and it's being found in all the fentanyl. A lot of these pressed pills. I don't know if you guys know what pressed pills are. There's like fake Adderall, fake Oxycontin, fake oxycodone. They're just pressed fentanyl pills that look just like the real ones. You could hold prescriptions right up next to these pills, and they're the same exact looking pill. You'd never know the difference. Um, it's really crazy that you got high school kids that are strung out on per se fentanyl. Whatever happened to smoking pot in high school? Maybe one time in your life taking a hit of blotter acid and tripping out with your friends. I couldn't imagine being in ninth or 10th grade and using fentanyl. That is absolutely crazy to me. It's really sad. And a lot of parents don't understand that their kids are doing this. I try to like give people a heads up what to look for. Like kids these days are, they don't tell their parents like, "Hey, Ma, I got a problem. I need help." It's gonna be too late one day when the mother or the father goes to wake up their kid and their heart is a rock and stiff because they went out and smoked some weed, didn't realize it's laced with fentanyl. They smoke a bone, they go to sleep, and they don't wake up. I wouldn't even know what to do if that happened to my kid. You know what I'm saying? I just, I really wouldn't know what to do. Um, it's a crazy world out there. People need to be educated. I believe this week coming up, it's going to be nice weather, and I'm going to try to go to that back to Tent City again and get my interviews done and be able to share that with you guys. I'm going to start doing daytime lives from like the homeless encampments, or like I said before, go into Methadone Mile and try to walk around and get some, raw footage from the streets, just to, give you guys a glance into what's going on, at least in my state anyways, but it's happening all around the world. You can go to Skid Row out in California. You can go to the tunnels in Las Vegas. It's just crazy what people are doing and how they have to live, And it's all because of the country's flooded with illegals. All the money's going towards these people. I don't understand it. Our children, our kids need the education. Our kids need all the help. I don't even drink, Laura, to tell you the same thing yeah. Drugs is the worst thing. And it's funny because, you see all these commercials, the war on drugs and let's say no to drugs, but it's the government that lets the drugs in. The whole country makes too much money. You know what I mean? Think about it. How many people would be out of work if there was no crime and no drugs? Lawyers, judges, probation officers, jails, prisons. Most of the jails and prisons, 80% is drugs. Then you got rape, murder, other crimes. 80% is drug use. That's why now all these jails and county jails are giving methadone and Suboxone in the jail, because so many people are coming in there. And I know for a fact, as long as you are on the clinic on the street, you can get on the clinic in the jail. So what's going to stop people now from going and committing crime? Who doesn't want to go, get if you're done time, you know what I mean? Like, who doesn't want to get 3 huts in a cot? Free food, free housing, colored TV. Now they give, you can buy a tablet in the canteen, get Netflix and all that good stuff. They got cell phones in jail and get your methadone and Suboxone. Because I can tell you right now, when I was going to jail, that's not what was going on. I was locked up in a supermax. Well, that means you're in a room that's 10 by 6 with another man, 10 hours. Prison is a win. Yeah, prison, right, exactly. I was locked in a room for 22 hours a day. You get out 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night. So, and this is what you do, right? I always say, if you can go into your little bathroom, bring another person with you, lock the door, and stay in there for 3 years and see how you are when you come out, because that's what I did. The only thing that saved me was I worked in there when I was locked up, because I was not staying locked in a room for 22 hours a day with another guy. I would always say it's fab and not fabulous. I would say fab, feet, ass, and breath, because that's all you'd have. You know, you got a guy go in the bathroom in front of you. You got a guy that got to do his business in front of you. It's just crazy. You got a desk, a toilet, a little sink, and 2 bunk beds, and whatever little stuff you can get out of commissary. There was no TVs in this place. There was no Walkmans in this place. It was a supermax. Like, literally, the only thing you had was a small ball that you could rub your hand over to turn on the light. You had to press a button to have the sink run, so you'd have to stick a spoon into the slot to keep the sink going. And your toilet would flush automatically like once an hour, so you couldn't flood the cell out. So this is the thing. What happens if you got to go to the bathroom and it's 3 o'clock and you take a big fat dump? Now you can't flush your toilet for an hour. You got to make a cover for the toilet so the place don't, suffocate you, and then flush the toilet in an hour. It's crazy. But that's what happens when you commit crime and you do wrong. Granted, I got a job in there and I was out all day because I was a worker. So I was let out at, say, 7 a.m. in the morning, and my cell didn't get locked till 11 at night. I was the head runner, or you'd call it the bond boss. I gave jobs out to other inmates. Granted, I did get, I only did county. Yeah, county sucks. County sucks, but county's no joke where I live. County's a supermax now. And that's what I'm talking about. You can do state time in a county jail now, and that's what I kept getting hit with, because they know it's tougher to do the time in these new jails than the old jails. These supermaxes are crazy. There's not even electricity in the rooms. They were covering the outlets with pieces of metal so you couldn't spark, and even you can't smoke, but if you got tobacco, you'd have to have a lighter. Do you know what they were selling cigarettes for in this place? No bullshit. They were getting like $75 for one Marlboro. One cigarette for $75. Then what they'd do, you'd buy a match for like $3 and you'd get the little piece of the striker, and you'd have to give the striker back. Some guys would take a match. Believe it or not, what you can do is, if you got a match, you can actually split the match into 2 pieces. Each side of that match will light one time. These guys were making a killing. Cigarettes were $75 for one cigarette. Not a pack, one. And don't even mind as well how much the drugs were in there. I know a lot of people say, oh, this and that, Suboxone's only about that big, right? People were selling their strips in there for like $500 for one Suboxone. One Suboxone, $500. I seen people lose eyeballs for ramen noodles. You guys know what the ramen soups are, the instant cup of soup. I seen a kid from my town lose his eye because he was gambling and he didn't pay his debt come commissary day, and this kid went up and punched him so many times right here in his orbital socket. He caved in the whole kid's face on this side. When he come out of that cell, he was holding his eyeball in his hand. It was still connected, but his eye was in his hand, and shit was just leaking down his face. He come back probably 2 weeks later. He was in the hospital. They reconstructed his whole orbital socket. Where does the money come from? Taxes. People's taxes are paying for these prisons. This was not a private prison. This was called the Dedham House of Correction. It's in Norfolk County. You can look it up. Check out the pictures of it. It's the same exact prison that Timothy McVeigh, that bomber that did that building years ago, was, that one out in the desert, that Supermax, they say it's built underground. It's the same exact place. And that's where I did my time. And the money comes from people's taxes. Just like people that collect SSI, SSDI, it's taxes. But I believe that's a difference. These prisons are built by people that live in the community, 420 somewhere for what up? But that's how it goes. It's like, I believe, this is my look at it, right? If someone gets busted for drugs, why not put them in a rehabilitation center that's under lock and key rather than a prison? When you send someone to jail, you're sending someone to a crime school. The inmates getting all their money for drugs and shit and cigs. Believe it or not, people have family, right? The money. So they get, either you hustle in there, or your family sends money. And now I see a lot of guys that prey on the weak, okay? So what happens is you get a new guy that comes in there and he's weak. He's never been locked up before. He's going to pay for your protection, and he's going to pay you on the street. So what a lot of these guys do is they call home and they just got to say, I need money put on this guy's books or what have you. And it happens. It's crazy to believe, but people have money in there. I had $50 every week for canteen, sent in by my own family. They took care of me. And if you got certain jobs in there, you can hustle. If you work in the laundry, you have access to all new clothes, socks, underwear, t-shirts, because they give you used stuff in there. You don't wear brand new underwear and socks. The jail I went to, you go in there, we used to call the t-shirts tea bags because they weren't white. They were brown from everyone sweating in them. All they do is wash them and give them to you. Used underwear, used socks. And it's legal because they wash them and then they reuse them. The only way you get new stuff is you buy out of commissary, t-shirts, boxer shorts, and your own socks. That's if you got canteen money. That's if you have money on your books. Now, there's a lot of guys in there, we call them Hooters or Herders or Vikings. They have nothing. They're living like animals, but they end up doing a hustle. And say, like I said, they work in the laundry. Hey, Brown did it. What's up, buddy? They work in the laundry and they supply, crispy new sweatshirts. Yeah, your undies were new, right? See what I'm saying? Every jail's different, but in Massachusetts, I think they did away with that. I think someone got smart and said, they can't be doing this, giving people reused underwear and sweatshirts. They were washing them and reusing them, and I think that's disgusting. And you had no money. Yeah, me too. I ended up with I'm a big dude. I've told you guys before, I'm 6 feet 4 inches tall, 333 pounds. I got a size 14 foot. So I didn't fit into all their basic clothes. I was a 5'6" in sweatshirts and those pants they give you. And I was lucky because I had hookups in the laundry. They had to go down and get me brand new t-shirts, brand new underwear, big, large size clothes. Most of the guys with average sizes were getting the garbage clothes. But I made it work for me. I wasn't wearing used anything. I had good sneakers. I bought a pair of Reeboks in the canteen for $50. I ended up helping down the canteen for a while was in the jail. They had their own canteen inside, and they'd call me down to help. I'd make the canteen bags. You'd start on one wall and work your way around, hygiene items, then the candy, then the chips and the soups and all the other stuff, the squeezed cheese and all that, peanut butter and jelly. You'd see their list. I would make their bag up and staple their name to it and their stuff like that. But then the state came in and it was state canteen. There was no more inside the jail. So that job was like kind of squished, Because so I'd be buying my own 50 bag, plus I'd make a 50 bag, because anything that was damaged, you got to keep and take back to the cell. Yeah, squeezed cheese. You never heard of squeezed cheese? Used to come in a bottle like ketchup, that yellow, look like macaroni cheese, and you'd squeeze it and you'd make what they call a mix. The guys used to take the ramen noodles and crush it up and put like tuna fish in it and jalapeno. And they use these things called little dude sausages. They were little tiny sausages, and they'd cut them up, and pickles, and they'd put it in a trash bag and just smush it all together. And it was called a mix or a slam. They'd call it a slam, you know. And like four guys would all get together and put all the stuff in. They'd all throw in stuff to make a mix, as they'd call it. And it was just big fat bowls, what I would call fodder. It was just big bowls of, exactly. Yes, like Vienna sausage, but they were called little dudes. Hey, buddy, what's up from the Philippines? Peace. So yeah, they were called little dudes. Funny, look them up. They're online. I know you can find them. They were little baby sausages. You can cut them up. They weren't that bad, actually. Jail taffy, awesome. Now I got to tell you, right? Some of the candy's the best candy I ever had. And I used to have a guy that would take a whole bag of Jolly. I still do it at home because it comes out awesome. Here's a good little trick for you guys. Go buy a bag of Jolly Ranchers, right? Take all of them and unwrap them all. Put them in a bowl and microwave them for about a minute and 5. All the candy melts, the Jolly Ranchers, and he'd get a stick and he'd make one big lollipop out of a combined mix of, they were the best candies I've ever had. He'd melt the whole bag of candy down to like the consistency of like, cotton candy, and he'd swirl it in the bowl and then spin it. And as it got hard, it would wrap around the popsicle sticks, and you'd have this big lollipop of all these it looked like a rainbow pop, and they used to sell them for like $5. Apply to work, need pissed. I don't understand what you're saying, Jackson. Apply to work, need pissed. I don't get it. I'm retired. I'm almost 60 years old, and yeah, it's going to try a video. I think they have a video that if you go online, there's different videos that guys make prison food and show you how to do it. You can make a pizza out of Ritz crackers. Believe it or not, they take a whole thing of Ritz crackers and they'll make the dough out of the crackers. And you add your cheese and your sauce and pepperoni. I've seen that done. All sorts of things, actually. There's a lot of good jail recipes online. When my kids were younger, I made slam sandwiches for them because they didn't know what they were. I did the jail pizza, and they thought it was awesome. Yeah, I don't even care about, trolls are trolls, man. But like I say, trolls make your page sometimes, because when you got a high number of people on there, sometimes it's like 75% of the trolls. But they don't realize when they're on there, when they're goofing on you, right? It's helping you because it keeps you in the algorithm. That's the funny thing. They don't understand. I laugh because I welcome everyone. Come on, do what you got to do. Say what you got to say. I'm never going to see these people in my life. And I got a tough skin, I don't give a fuck. I was locked up with dudes that had life sentences that committed murders. You think I'm going to worry about someone that's called me fat or ugly or some bullshit? I don't care. You know what it is? It is what it is. I do me, Yeah, the phones get crazy. People want to goof, and sometimes I don't understand the comments either, But like I said, there's some people that come on that want to learn things. Some people that come on just to, give you a hard time. It is what it is. So I was saying, yeah, there's some good geo recipes you guys should try out sometimes. There's a whole lot of good stuff that you guys can try. And, it's really good. The Jolly Rancher one's one of my favorites. I still make it to this day. I go once in a while and I'll buy a whole bag of now they got like the, I think it's like wild fruit flavor Jolly Ranchers, and I just throw them right in the microwave and I make a big old lollipop. There's some old videos here on YouTube too that you can check out, that they stopped selling Jolly Ranchers in a lot of the bigger prisons because the guys, they get hot as a rock. And some of these guys can shape the Jolly Ranchers to a point. You can actually stab someone with a bag of Jolly Ranchers, believe it or not. If you take like 2 bags of the candy and mix it up, and then you shape it with rubber gloves on while it's still kind of mushy and put it to a point. You can actually jam that in someone's neck. You don't realize how dangerous certain things are. Like, you wouldn't realize when you go to buy a pen, a regular, like, ballpoint pen, right, that you'd get in prison like this. They won't give it to you like this. They sell these little sticks, exactly like a candy cane. Absolutely, you are 100% right. Candy cane, you've seen them, right? You eat one, you're sucking on it, you pull it out, it's got a point on it. You take that and stick that in someone's eye, done. The pens in there, you can flip them like this, back and forth. Yeah, you can make a shank out of a lot of things. We used to call them bone crushers, okay? You take a spring out of a bed or a small piece of square metal yay long. What are you going to do for 22 hours a day? Sharpen it up. You got yourself a butcher knife. You wrap a sock around the end of it. Boom. You got a bone crusher. That'll go in this side and come out that side. There's some crazy things. Look up jail weapons found, like homemade weapons. They have different videos that I watch that these guys make different things. Toothbrushes. They only give you a toothbrush that big. It's got the toothbrush and a little handle. Just enough to brush your teeth. End of sentence in 23. And one of some channels I've watched about some prison stuff, but I like your stories. Give a little bit more of the down-home flavor. Yeah, exactly, because I'm not going to tell you I was this big killer prisoner. My first time in there, I didn't know what to expect. And the only time, hey, Mike Brown, what up? Mike, it's okay. I was just talking to another guy on here, and actually, I ain't been around for 6 days. Yeah, we can do an interview sometimes. Brown did that anytime. We can do we can do the split screen or something. We'll talk, and we can collab. Yeah, absolutely. You and I can do a split screen sometime. I'll message you, we can do that. I just got home. I was just going to tell Mike that for the last 6 days, I went to a detox and I volunteered at a veterans detox, half veterans, half civilians. But I stayed 6 days. I left last Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. And I go and I stay there and I live there with the gentleman, Hey, what up, Positive Vibes? How you doing? And I stay there with these gentlemen. There's 32 people, all addicted to drugs and alcohol, and they're detoxing. And while I'm there, I help as much as I can. We do meetings during the day. 3 meals are served, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks at night, and stuff like that, Yeah, I was gone. Like you said, you haven't been around. Well, I wasn't on either. If you've seen my shorts, I had said I'd be back Sunday. I was picked up this morning at 9:30, and I just spent 6 days with these guys, and I was in tears at the beginning of my life. I heard some of the saddest stories from these guys that were over in Vietnam and how they're still all screwed up in their heads and they drink to forget. I never knew how bad it was over there till I heard some of these stories this weekend, Yes, Laura, thank you very much. Share, like, subscribe. Like I say, guys, I try to help those homeless. I really can't do it on my own. I do have Venmo. The link is in my description. Anything helps. What I do is I'm trying to make hygiene bags. I go to different encampments of homeless. There's one I go to called Tent City. There's about 40 people living in tents up there. It's just a sad situation, You go into Methadone Mile, there's 150 to 200 people living in tents. And it just made national news that the newest thing that's going on is rats are eating the people. Like, literally what's happening is there's no porta potties over there. So you got all these people pissing and leaving feces all over the place. And then what happens is at night, rats come out at night, right? Yeah, you have a tent city there, see? And what's going on is the rats are eating the feces. They're lapping up the urine. And then what they do is they go chew on the people. They're passed out. They're sleeping. The rats are in there nibbling on them. These people are catching a disease. Now they're ending up in Boston City Hospital, and the doctors couldn't figure out what's going on. Now, exactly. And now what they're figuring out is them are bites that these guys got. They thought it was from xyloside. Xyloside, yeah, it is a little gross, but it's reality. And that's what's happening to people. And that's why I get so upset. They shouldn't be handing out all this money to these people coming in illegal into this country. I'm not into politics, and I say that all the time. But when I see guys that are all chewed up from rat bites that serve this country, that are living on sidewalks and drinking a handle of vodka every day just to get through their day, that's disgusting. To me, anyone that served for this country should be put up in a home. And I'm going to say this much. I had a big old house and I could take them all home with me, I would, because no one deserves to live on the street that wore a uniform and fought for this country. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't think anyone that fought for this country or even wore any type of uniform should ever be ousted to live in the streets while you got illegals living in hotels. I'm going to go up this week and do some filming. There's a hotel in my town, okay? And it's the Courtyard Marriott, and I'm going to put them right out there. They got a top wrapped around their sign. And I called there, and I said, can I rent a room? And they said, we're not renting rooms right now. And I said, why not? You guys are a hotel. They said, just at the moment, we're not renting rooms. The reason they're doing that is because it's full of all illegals that each one gets $3,500 when they come into the country. Then they get put up in a hotel for free and live there. My town's food pantry is open on Tuesday, okay? This is how crazy it is. I go to the food pantry once in a while to get some extra food because I don't make a lot of money. I lived on a fixed income. The whole food pantry was empty in 1 hour because everyone that lived in the hotel, they said you could see a line of people all walking to the town to go to the food pantry. And because that Courtyard Marriott is in my town, they're allowed to go to the food pantry, and they cleaned it out in 1 hour. What happens to the rest of the people that need to eat, that can't? These people went in and got all the food. They get food stamps. They should go to the store and buy the food. They save the food stamps and sell it, and then get the food pantry and clean it out. I understand. Some things may be hard to hear over here. Yeah, I get that, but it is cold, hard truth. And like tonight, I let it rip because it's not that I'm upset. I'm more saddened by what I saw. It really tugged on my heartstrings to see these guys in tears, suffering, not knowing where they're going next. Like getting upset because their stay at a local detox is ending. I couldn't wait to get out of there. To be honest with you, I was getting cabin fever. They allow you to go out and smoke 12 times a day, 3 meals of decent food, laundry, showers. But you're in there with 32 guys in one big day room all day. That's as big as the place is. Then you got the bedrooms that fit 4 men per room, So you can only sit in so many places. And I was surrounded by all these guys that were literally on the edge, and I was trying to do as much as I can. It was funny because they allowed me to, one of the orderlies hooked up a computer to the television. And what they did was, instead of doing like a meeting, they let us watch one of my lives, previously recorded on the big screen TV. And it was I did almost a 2-hour live, and that's what we watched. And that counted as a meeting. And the guys loved it. A lot of them don't have cell phones or tablets because they all asked for the name of my channel, which is at Boston Bill. And, a few of them did subscribe because I see my numbers went up a little bit. But they all said, oh, I loved it. Where can we see more? And I gave them the channel, but they don't have cell phones. And I did tell him, you can go get a phone for like $10 at Walmart and add minutes. And a lot of these guys don't even have the money for that. They literally have one pair of clothes, and it's sad. Again, like I say, if anyone can ever help, I just ask, I do have Venmo in my description, and, I try to do what I'm going to do. I want to make up little, hygiene kits, deodorant, tampons, maxi pads, lip balm, toothbrushes, toothpaste. They have now out there waterless shampoo that you can like dry wash your hair. Because a lot of people just, I seen guys that were coming in there and they literally, you could smell them from across the room. Their clothes were disgusting. Instead of washing them, we just asked them, can we throw these away? And they provide like scrubs, like hospital scrubs or a sweatshirt. And that's what we did, I can only do so much. I'm one guy. I'm not a millionaire. I wish I was, because I'd probably donate most of the money to these people. Yeah. Also, she's right. I also deal with mental health issues. I myself have bipolar 1, PTSD, HAD. I've been dealing with this since 2008 when I was diagnosed. I do take a few psych meds, but nothing crazy. I have real bad neuropathy lymphedema in my feet. I had major surgery 2 years ago. I take gabapentin 3 a day for my foot pain. I was forced to retire at 50 years old. So, I really can't work no more. I get 100% disability because I'm disabled. So things worked out. I hired a lawyer. I was able to, do what I got to do to live. I'm not living on big money. I'm just trying to give back to the community that I lived in all my life. And I took advantage and I ran around like crazy. And as I told you guys Wednesday night, I actually had a little accident. As you can see on the top of my head, this looks like a pot. But if you notice, there's a big gash on the top of my head and a bald spot. And I ripped all my hair out because what had happened was I fell asleep while I was waiting up for the guys to get their night meds. They give bedtime meds like Benadryl and melatonin. And I fell forward and I smashed my head off a wall. And that's the result, as you can see. And I went for my first ambulance ride Wednesday night, midnight. I was put into a gurney. I was shipped down to a hospital called Brockton City Hospital. I was checked out and sent back in an Uber. So I even got fucked up while I was there, Yes, I have OCD, PSD, anxiety, and depression. We all struggle with something. It's a known fact. Everyone in America is on some type of pill for something. I'm not one of them guys that comes on and hop. I told you, I don't do AA or NA. How's the walk looking? The wall? Oh, the wall? It's got my hair on it, Mike. As you can see, it pulled a lot of my hair out. I really smacked that sucker good. I couldn't believe how hard I hit it, It's protocol because it was a head injury. So it was my first time ever going out in an ambulance. I've never been through that before, but I was like, oh no, they're going to send me a bill for like $900. But luckily I was in the facility and they're going to pay for it. Thanks, Laura. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was pretty wild. Like the nurse said, I don't want to lose my license. It's protocol. You have to go to the hospital because it was a head injury. Because that night it was bad. I had a big old egg in my head. And like I said, you can see the mark right here. That's all hair that was torn out from me hitting my head. And then it's lucky it didn't split open, And I'm not a balding guy. I have a lot of hair there. You know what I mean? So now I got this bald spot. What do? Shave my head and start over? Or do I, what do I do from there? You know what I mean? Now I'm walking around like my brother said, it looks like a bullet zipped over my head, So I wanted to come on tonight and just say I'm back home, I'll be live, pretty much trying to do it every night. I missed all you guys while I was gone. I was gone for technically 5 days and one morning. I was picked up at 9:30 this morning. It was so nice to come home, eat some decent food. take a nice shower in my own shower. Like this morning, I took a shower and I seen coffee grounds because the guys didn't know how to make coffee in the brewing machine, and they made basically a pot of brown water. They added 2 bags. It's supposed to be 5. They weren't waiting for me because they're impatient. I was up at 5 a.m., but I got to go to the bathroom too. I tried to get in there and make coffee for the guys, and they were already up. And I had someone that I said, go drain it in the sink. And the guy goes in and drains it in the shower. So now I got a shower full of coffee grounds. My feet probably smell like Taster's Choice, And, there's 2 bathrooms with 6 toilets and then a private handicap bathroom. All the toilets got cleaned. I emptied all the trash before I left. I said my goodbyes. I got a whole bunch of phone numbers from a bunch of guys. I got a whole stack of different numbers from all these guys that want to keep in touch and talk. I made some promises and I'm going to keep them, whether I got to pay for it out of my own pocket. I told the guys I'd be back and drop some cigarettes off. These poor guys just want a pack of butts. You know what I mean? They're locked up in a facility where they got to stay. Most of them are going to a thing called CSS, which is further structural help for their issues. A lot of them are homeless and have nowhere to go. They have no choice but to stay there. But they want help because they're done. You know what I mean? They're mentally screwed up. They're physically broken, and it's not fair. They fought for this country, and I believe they should be well taken care of, and they're not. A guy that lives in Mexico can walk over the border right now and tomorrow go apply. He'll get $3,500, right? A voucher for a hotel. Food stamps are about $2,000. And a temporary card that says he can stay in this country. Whereas a Vietnam vet gets dick. Nothing. Maybe a little bit of a check every day or every month for being injured over in Nam, taking shrapnel to his head. The guys that are coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, same thing. Be all you can be and then suffer. It's crazy. It's a reality. It's not... it's no joke. And then when you see these guys, you can see they're dead in their eyes. They're soulless people, man. And it's not because they're evil people. It's because they went and did something they thought they were doing right. And then we all turned our backs on them. Not me. I was a kid. A lot of you guys that weren't born back then are not to blame. But it's a lot of the country people that, when they came back, they were getting spit on and called baby killers. Vietnam wasn't all about that. There was other things going on over there. And even in Iraq right now, in Iran. My friend's son, they just had a party while I was away. And I didn't even know it till my mom told me today. He's getting shipped over there. He's going there now because of the war that's going on. This kid's 26 years old and my buddy's scared to death that his kid may not come home. He's in the Army, and his name is Nick, and I shout out Nick. Nick, I salute you. His name is Nick Keefe, and I really hope, I pray for Nick. He's a 26-year-old kid, and he's going overseas, and I hope he comes home to his dad, because his father, Ray, is a great guy. Ray is a great guy, and he's really upset, It's his baby. Now his kid's getting shipped over to Iraq, because, we got to drop bombs on this country for what, some oil? Time to wake up, man. It's crazy shit going on in this world. I just hope, my message gets out there. I can help some people. Anyone needs to talk about anything. That's what we're here for. It's not just about drugs. It's about anything. Life in general. Anything that comes up with you guys and you need to talk. I'm into a lot of things. I'm into music, cars, horror movies. I like life. I like Harley Davidsons. I like motorcycles. I like girls. You know what I mean? It's all about everything. It's not just, a drug and alcohol type thing. It's about anything. I just want this channel to be where people can come and vent. I'm not like, no, I show speed. I don't got millions of dollars. And I'm not a young kid that can run around and do all these wild things. I wish I could, because I'd probably be doing that stuff. I wish there was YouTube when I was a teenager in the 80s, because I probably would have been one of those big YouTubers. I used to break dance and have musical bands, and I had such great time when I was a teenager. And then I took a left when I was about 21 years old, and I went down that road: drugs, alcohol, prison, crime. And it wasn't even my, in my future to do that. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted a great life. And I remember being a kid and promising my mother I'd graduate high school and do the right thing. And that's not what happened. It totally went the wrong way. But I have a chance to, try to make something of myself now. And my mother is still alive at 85 years old. And now today, my mother says she's proud of me. Um, she watches sometimes my YouTubes, and she knows what I'm about, what I'm trying to do, and she knows I help people. And even sometimes on Thanksgiving, I'll bring one or two homeless people home. And up until a few years ago, my mother still cooked, but she's 85 years old and she can't do it no more. But now we, might get it catered or something. But I'll bring a few homeless guys home and feed them if I can. Just trying to do something for people that wasn't done for me. And not a lot of people are doing anything for people these days. And it's really sad. So I just want to help. I'm so glad I'm back home and I was able to go live with you guys tonight. Like I said, I missed Laura and Mike and Mr. Brown, and a lot of you guys. There's a lot of you guys that I became friends with here on YouTube, and I welcome you guys anytime. And I told you I'd give you my email, my phone number. We can talk. We're kind of a family. All YouTubers, whether you guys got 20,000 subs or you got a few hundred like me, I consider us all family. We do YouTube. Since I'm stuck at home and I can't work, they said to me, the doctor I work with and a couple of my counselors said, why don't you do a YouTube channel? You're a good guy. You like to talk to people. I believe you're doing a good thing. And this is why I'm here, It's therapeutic for me. And hopefully you guys enjoy seeing, me. And I enjoy seeing you guys. And I hope, if you guys get anything that you'd like to talk about or having troubles, come on over and stop in and let me know, because that's what I want to do. I want you guys to talk to me and I want to talk to you. I don't want to be the one doing all the talking. I want us to all talk, Let's all get to know each other and work through our struggles together, because really that's what it's all about. It ain't about who got the most, because in the end, we're all going to die and we're all going to have nothing. We're temporarily renting everything. The homes we live in, the cars we got, big deal. Got a car, I got a Harley Davidson. I own it, but I really don't, because when I die and that stuff's still around, it's going to be someone else's house, someone else's car, someone else's motorcycle, Maybe the car will get junked and the bike will be scrapped, but it'll be someone else's home. I ain't going to live forever. None of us are. That's the one thing we all have in common. We're all going to die someday. So let's try to do something decent while we're on this planet. Let's all be friendly to each other. Let's love each other. At least let's like each other or tolerate each other, I just want to meet people from all over the world. I always wanted to travel. That's what I say all the time. There's a will set up for me now. The house I'm in is paid for. It's going to be sold, and the money's going to be divided up between me and my brother. And my plan's to buy an RV and hopefully ride around the country and see things. I've never been on a plane. I want to go see Las Vegas. I want to see the Hollywood sign. I want to go to Laura's farm and see her pig. I could go over and see Mike Brown and say what's up. I can go see Elijah play the guitar. You know what I mean? I just want to go and see things that I've never seen. I've drove to like New York, Rhode Island, Connecticut, but I want to go somewhere. I want to travel, And that would be awesome and good stuff. And I'm going to wrap this up because I've been gone for 6 days. I got to do some laundry and I got to get in bed. It's late here in Boston. It's almost 8 o'clock. And I got to be up at 4 a.m. because, I got to go to that methadone clinic. It was nice being there because I would get dosed right in the building, but now I got to travel. It's not that bad. Like I said, I get a ride and everything. I'm just glad I made it home, guys. And I was able to come on and see you guys. And, it's all good. And I'm so happy you guys came and tuned in. Let's get the channel going. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell everybody. Let's comment and like and share, and let's get some subs on the channel. All I'm trying to do is help people. I can't impress you guys. I can't do backflips and pull Pokemon cards and all that, but I'm just trying to be a good human being. How far the clinic from my house? 12 miles there, 12 miles back. It's 24 miles round trip. I don't have to drive it though. I'm lucky enough that they supply a ride for me and my brother. I have a car that comes to me every morning, 6 days a week, picks me up about 5:30, quarter of six. They drive me there and they drive me back home. It's called the PT1. It's paid for by my insurance, so I'm lucky in that you know that avenue of it. I have a car. I have a 2021 Hyundai Elantra that's pretty much brand new. We bought it. We never drive it. There's only 20,000 miles on the car. It's almost 5 years old. It just hit 20,000 miles. The car's brand new. The back seat still got the plastic on it. We bought it the year the pandemic hit, 2021. Me and my uncle went to the dealership and we paid cash for it. Car's paid for, no car note, no nothing. The car's for me and my mother, and she don't really drive far. She's 85. She goes to Shaw's or Walmart once a week, and I go to my doctor, and that's it. I go to the clinic via the PT1. So that's 24 miles a day that I don't got to put on the car. The car literally has 20,000 miles and it's 4 years old or 5 years old. I still get free oil changes and tire rotation at the dealership because it was like 75,000 miles. Then you got to pay for it. I'm only got 20. The guy's like, you ever going to drive this car? I've been getting free oil changes for 4 years now. It's awesome. It's like $120, but the car's got synthetic oil, so it's every 7,000 miles. The car's not even getting that put on it in a year, maybe, if that. But like I said, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm Boston Bill. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I'll be back again tomorrow night, 6:15. I'm going to start doing 2-hour lives. I think I'm going to go live during the day and live at night. That way there people can see it 420 somewhere. Thank you for joining. I don't think I've seen you here before. Subscribe if you haven't. If everyone else is out there, like, share, and subscribe. Come on in. If you're feeling generous, I do have Venmo on my page. It's in my description. It's for the homeless guys out there. Try to help people do a little something, something. It's all good. And like I always say, I'm Boston Bill, and I will be back. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you so much for stopping in. Bye, guys. I'll see you. Thank you.